I used to hate spirituality. Anytime anyone would ask me if I was spiritual or if I believed, if I wanted to look into spirituality or if they were spiritual themselves, I would always push them back and tell them, no, 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 I'm not interested. I don't like that. Because I saw the word spirit in the word and automatically associated it with God and things that I already didn't like. And so for the longest time, I always put off reading the spiritual philosophy that these huge spiritual figures would put out, simply because I thought, no, no, this is just religious bullshit. It's not, this isn't correct anyway, so I'm not even gonna bother reading it. Failing to acknowledge that I didn't even know what spirituality was. Literally a year ago, somebody asked me if I was spiritual, and I said no, and I had to ask myself when I got back home, what even is spirituality? And that's when I started looking into it. That's when I met spiritual figures, not literally like spirits, but people who are involved in spirituality, people who believe in it. I started meeting them in other places and talking to them. And I came to realize that spirituality is, in essence, the gateway to understanding nature and becoming one with it again. Now, you may be looking at the title of this video and thinking that that doesn't really make any sense because I'm arguing for the interconnectedness of everything, that we are all one. However, after we achieve consciousness, although our existence is still one with nature, we don't believe that. We don't see it. And this is where the problems start to come in, because we don't live lives according to how nature ordained it. We don't live lives that are in tune with nature. Instead, we see the world and the universe as a tool for scientific progress and technological progress. We don't see it as an extension of ourselves. And this leads to a whole bunch of issues. We have the environmental people who use the environment for their own advantage, who absolutely destroy ecosystems, absolutely destroy essentially life. We have the Amazon rainforest, we have oceans, we have the Love Canal incident where we started just fucking dumping chemicals in water. We had all the oil spills in the ocean. And that's just the nature environmental side. What about people? What about how we treat each other? When you see someone, and don't bullshit yourself, this is most likely you. When you see someone who you don't like, your first instinct is to judge them and label them as something based on your own beliefs that you yourself have not even really challenged yet. You see someone who's easy to anger, and you think, wow, he's a pussy. He needs to man up. He doesn't know. He hasn't done this. He's this. He's this. He's this. You're failing to acknowledge that at some point you were him. At some point you reacted in the same way that he was. Or at the very least, if you had his experiences, you would be like him just now. Or you would be like him in this instance. So, what are you judging him for? Because we fail to see that everything in the universe is one, we treat each other and the world as tools, simply things for our own pleasure and desires. And we let the ego take control of what we think is important. We essentially instead of letting our mind, our rational, conscious mind, outline what we believe in, we let our ego shape that for us. And so this is where like a lot of the common rhetoric is seen, that like the easiest example would be people who justify lust and pornography use. They're led by their desires more than their rational mind. And so, of course, they see the world in that way. Of course, they see, the effects of corporatism on the environment as simply bad for humanity, as simply bad for us, the individual. Or they might not even see it as bad at all. They might just see it as an extension of progress. That, oh yeah, humanity is above nature. It's our right. It's our God-given right to use the world as we wish. In this video, we're going to be discussing the interconnectedness of everything and how everything is one and why it's important. So first, we're going to begin by understanding interconnectedness and what exactly interconnectedness means. So interconnectedness goes far deeper than simply relation by species or relation by blood. Interconnectedness comes from the fact that everything in the universe came from the same origin point, shot out into space, and then kept getting recycled over and over and over and over again, always creating new things. But we know that this matter is always the same. The matter itself does not change. The matter is still matter. It's still what it's always been. But different combinations of matter come to create different things. And so, in essence, the matter that has existed before your existence was always getting recycled and recycled and recycled. And because of that, because your existence, it's not just new matter that's coming out of nowhere specifically to make you. It's matter that has existed for billions and trillions of years. And because of that, you were something else at some point. You know, we like to believe that our existence as humans begins, well, as humans, yes, it begins when we're born, but our existence in general, it doesn't start when our parents meet and then, our mother gives birth to us. Our lives began all the way at the beginning of the universe because the matter that comes to make us was in a tree at some point. It was in a star, a plant, a pig. It was in other forms of life, be it conscious or not, be it, organic or inorganic. We were something else. And furthermore, when we die, we're not going to stop existing. Our consciousness might go away. We really won't know what happens until it happens. But assuming that, consciousness comes with simply the brain, and that once the brain dies, the consciousness dies, then you will, in a way, die. Your human existence will stop when you die. But your existence will not. You will keep living and you will be recycled into new life forms, new forms of nature. So think about it like this. Let's say you die, right? You die and you get buried, but you're not in a casket or anything. You're just like, they literally just threw you on the ground. So you're next to the dirt and everything. When you decompose, the matter that came to make you, it's going to go into the dirt in the form of nutrients and other stuff. Then we're going to have decomposers and, worms and such. They're going to come down and they're going to eat on your flesh, basically, or on the nutrients that come from your flesh. They're going to come up to the surface and a bird is going to come eat them, or at least one of them. And then the nutrients from that worm is going to go into the bird, and it's going to help form muscle and essentially sustain the life of that bird. It's going to become part of that bird. So what has happened here is that you died, you decomposed, and then you got recycled. Or not decomposed, then recycled, but you died and then got recycled into something else until now you are basically the bird. Because the same matter that made you is being used to make this bird. And of course, not all of your matter is going to this single bird. Your matter is going to different things simultaneously. Maybe it stays in the dirt. Maybe it stays in the worm. Maybe another animal eats the worm, or maybe another animal eats the bird. And then, that bigger bird or that other land animal, your matter is now in them. And so it's just an infinite cycle of being recycled. And because of that, because we were all something else at some point, because we will be something else at another point, everything is one. There's literally no difference between me, you, the trees, the sky, the stars. There's no difference at all because we were those things at some point. And so for your actionable step, I want you to simply look out your window, or even better, if it's not like very late, if you can still go outside, I don't care what the weather is, go outside and look at the trees. Look at the trees, look at the grass, look at these things, and really try to understand, really try to connect with it. I know that sounds weird, but let's look at this. I'm looking at this tree right outside, right outside my window. This tree, this is the thought process I want you to go through. This thing that I'm looking at, the matter that makes that up, it's going to turn into me one day, and I'm going to turn back into it one day. There is no difference between me and this tree, this life form that extended from the ground up. The matter that makes us is literally no different from each other, and so I have no reason to hate it. I have no reason to see it as something for my own benefit, because it is my own family, and so I'm going to respect it and love it as such. So why does this matter? Well, even though all of us are always one with nature in the physical sense, like the matter that makes us up is still a part of the universe, we're still going to get recycled. Because of consciousness and because of ego, we don't see it that way. We don't believe that. And instead, we choose to see nature as a tool. We see it as a tool for comfort, for making things better, technologically speaking, for advancing in science, for our own desires. We don't see it as an extension of ourselves. We don't see the trees as part of our family. We see it as materials to make wood and furniture. So, understanding how everything is interconnected allows us to have a better view of the world with more understanding and more empathy. Since we don't believe that we are interconnecting with nature, a lot of us have this very two-dimensional, unexplored set of values and beliefs about the world and ourselves. I mean, think about this. How many people do you know in your own workspace or whatnot, in your own family, who you would speak to them and they don't have a set of beliefs that is their own? It's everything that they're saying is something that has been constructed by society specifically to keep them productive and within the system. Because we fail to see the oneness of everything, we fail to build deeper understandings of the world around us. And this goes beyond just simply like scientific understanding. Oh, well, trees come from the roots because of this metamorphosis secret technique that it does in the seed when it goes beyond that. I'm talking about morals, about values, about beliefs of what nature actually is, about how it operates, why it chooses to operate the way it does. Many people don't have that simply because they don't see how it's important. And I'm telling you why it's important. It's important because this thing is you. It was you. You were it at one point, and you're going to be it again at some point. So why not understand it? There's a reason that nature is the most fulfilling thing for us. It's because nature is an extension of ourselves. Denying it is not only a spit in the face to the world, for the world that gave you life, but it's a spit in the face to yourself. Because think about it, when you were in these spaces that were devoid of nature, were you really happy? The thing that might have kept you happy was probably stimulation, entertainment, pornography, junk food. But most of us, we really aren't happy in places where there's no greenery, where there's no vegetation, because we weren't meant for that living. We were born in the sun, in between the trees, in between the animals. We were born in that. And so, understanding that it's an extension of ourselves helps us get more in tune with life, and it helps us live more purposeful lives. And this leads me to my next point, that people only do bad things because they fail to see the oneness of everything. Let's imagine that a criminal commits a purely violent crime, a rape or an assault that has no justification behind it. He just saw this random person and decided to punch them in the face or something. Or he decided to see this woman and his perversions took over, and he did he sexually assaulted her. The only reason that these crimes occur, that these people are acting in such a violent, malicious way, is because they haven't seen how everything is connected. They have not connected with their own humanity. They have not connected with nature and the things around them, let alone themselves. And so, of course, because of this, they're not led by any set of values. They're not led by any of that. They're led by ego. And this is where most malicious activities stem from. Of course, we're excluding things like looting and rioting because those are responses to injustice, right? Simply stealing something is not necessarily a bad thing, because if you're somebody who is in a death camp and you steal food for your family, you're not evil. You're not a bad person for doing that. But assuming, let's look at CEOs, for example. The CEOs who take more and more and more, they're essentially fucking over these communities who need the money. They're putting a strain on the economy for their own benefit, preventing policies that would benefit the people from going through specifically for their own gain. The reason they do that is because they're led by their ego. They only see greed before anything else. And so the reason that understanding this oneness with everything matters is because, one, oneness with everything allows us to see the world for what it truly is. And secondly, people fail to act according to their values. They fail to create values that are in tune with nature. They fail to understand nature and really act in a way that's positive for not only humans but life itself, because they're led by ego, because they haven't seen the oneness of everything. The matter that makes up all life forms. Think about how loving this is. All the matter in the universe is coming together to grant you an existence. It's coming together it's giving you the gift of consciousness. It's saying, okay, we're gonna give you the ability, we're gonna give you self-awareness, we're gonna give you the ability to really feel things and understand them in a way that makes them so much better. We're gonna give you the gift of intelligence and curiosity and all these other things. We're gonna give you life, and we're gonna let you enjoy that and experience it. How loving is that? The universe does not have to give you anything. It doesn't owe you anything. We haven't done anything to deserve life. We simply received it. So it's important to go outside often and really have gratitude while you're walking somewhere, just being present in your environment and showing your gratitude to life, to nature itself, for granting you an existence. So the first step is to go in a planner and set aside tomorrow morning, set aside 30 minutes, or at the very minimum 10 minutes, to simply sit outside and appreciate nature. No matter what the weather is, I don't care what the weather is, get comfortable with experiencing the elements of life. We have this such a weird mentality where it's like, if the rain is cold, we're scared of it and we want to stay inside all nice and warm with our synthetic polyester shirt. We have Isn't that so strange that this is the very thing that gives us life, and because it stings a little bit when we first feel it, we immediately cower away and want to get under a roof? Set aside 10 minutes, 10 to 30 minutes to sit outside and appreciate nature, to sit outside and really attempt to understand life on a far deeper level than most people. For your second actionable step, write down in a journal, and this is not something, this is the beginning step. You're not going to finish answering this tonight, no way. Open a journal and ask yourself one of the following questions. What are my morals? That's one. What is my sense of morality? What are my values? Or what are my principles? Same thing. And finally, what do I believe in? Pick one of these three questions to focus on journaling and answering for every single night for the next 3 months. This is simply to get you to philosophize consciously. You won't answer these questions anytime soon, honestly. You might get like an idea, but you have to read and experience a lot. And you have to be tested a lot on your ideologies to be able to truly say, okay, this is what I believe in. It takes time. That's all for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, just interact with the video so that it gets more attention and more people can get this information, because I'm sure you agree with me if you made it this far into the video. The information I'm giving here is not just words that I'm saying. It's genuinely valuable, and I believe that. I believe that what I'm providing for you guys is of value, and that it could genuinely help shape your life in a more positive way, that if enough people saw it, we together could shape society in a better, more positive way. We could have healthier, smarter children. We could have better, healthier environments. We could treat nature with more respect. I believe that what I'm providing is of genuine value, and that it'll, in the long term, and even in the short term, that it will help us. And so, please interact with me, or interact with the video, pause on that, so that it gets more attention, so that more people see it. I have a Medium page. I post articles every Sunday, Saturday. If it's a big essay, I'll post it the day before the actual essay itself gets released. But if it's simply like one of these videos, I'll either post the script on the same day for those who prefer to read it. Actually, I should do the day before, but next time I have to get it. Or it'll be on a completely different topic. So I'm not always producing the same type of video. Like, for example, today I posted, I don't know if you can see that in the background. Can you see that? Yeah. This video is Business is Kind of Evil. And I'll actually show you right now that on my Medium page, I published this article, It's Not Their Fault, which is essentially talking about how, similar to this, how people acting the way they do is not their fault, that there's like that we have to gain a deeper understanding of why people are the way they are. So if you're interested in getting fresh content that's not on the channel, if you're interested in simply reading more, if you're just more of a reader than somebody who watches, if you want to improve your attention span and that's like what you're looking for, check that out. Follow it and leave likes, of course, and comments, interact with those. And yeah, that's all. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.